terrifying moment on South Beach when police say this man walked up to a hotel stranger who was eating at a sidewalk cafe with his family and shot him. Good afternoon, I'm Maribel Rodriguez.
So this is why you guys come here, because we just not going to gloss over that. We're not just going to gloss over that. We're going to unpack this little part right here right quick. You feel me? You feel me? Run that back one more time.
First at noon, terrifying moment on South Beach when police say this man walked up to a hotel stranger who was eating at a sidewalk cafe with his family and shot him.
Okay. So we heard that correctly. Now, this happens all the time in the stand. And it's usually by accident. They kill a stranger. They're shooting at somebody, or they're shooting into a building or apartment. Just that they got beef with somebody who's in that building, or somebody who's in that apartment. They're just shooting at the building. Or they're just doing a drive-by at a cookout. There's a guy at 100 people at a cookout, and there's a guy there they got a problem with. And they just come by and spray the crowd. So they do this a lot. Okay? But now it's getting to another level. And this is what happens when you don't check things. So because all the sisters protested for criminal justice reform, and they're still protesting for criminal justice reform. Sisters is still wild about criminal justice reform. They got the nerve to be like out here just still, we need criminal justice reform. Really? So you don't have no bail. This guy will probably get out the next day. He's probably out already. But the sentences are much lighter. The cops are much friendlier when they arrest you. Like, this guy walked up to a stranger who was eating with his family and blew his brains out. The cops need to beat him till his eyelashes hurt. Every inch of his body. What are we talking about here? Anyway. But this is what you asked for. Sisters and white liberals, thank you. Now we got them. It's not just they're killing strangers every day by accident. Now they're intentionally coming up and killing strangers. Thanks, sisters, and thanks, white liberals. Appreciate you.
First at noon, terrifying moment on South Beach when police say this man walked up to a hotel stranger who was eating at a sidewalk cafe with his family and shot him. Good afternoon, I'm Maribel Rodriguez.
And I'm Frances Wang. The victim was rushed to the hospital where he was pronounced dead.
Police say the suspect confessed to cold-blooded murder. CBS 4's Peter Dench is live on Miami Beach, where we're learning new information about the victim and the man who admits firing the shots. Peter?
Well, Maribel and Francis, Miami Beach police say that the man who was charged confessed to being high on mushrooms, and he said that made him feel empowered. Now, the victim was sitting right here at this restaurant with his family.
So he says he was high on mushrooms, and that made him feel empowered. He's confessing. I don't care what he was high on, because by that logic, we should have stories every day of people on mushrooms killing people. People do mushrooms all across this country. There's a new initiative in D.C. where they're trying to legalize. They say plant shouldn't be illegal. Something they're doing where they're trying to legalize mushrooms and all types of different things like that, because a lot of people take these mushrooms. When the last time you heard a story where somebody with mushrooms killed somebody? So I'm inclined to think that it's more than just a mushroom, because we got to blame the gun. First it's the gun's fault, then it's the mushroom's fault, and then in a distant third, it's society. Then fourth is poverty, and then fifth, if we even get that far, it'll be something he did. something dealing with his own actions.
Maribel and Francis, Miami Beach police say that the man who was charged confessed to being high on mushrooms, and he said that made him feel empowered. Now, the victim was sitting right here at this restaurant with his family members, and he took steps to protect them, and that's why his uncle, at this hour, is calling him a hero. Michael Wakefield says his 21-year-old nephew, Dustin, was dining with his family when the gunman approached.
Could you imagine? And I know I'm asking a lot. I know I'm asking a lot. Especially you guys who've been member of this channel. Make sure you share these videos. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you definitely take the $5 challenge, $20 challenge, $50 challenge, $100 challenge, whatever. Support the challenge. Support us like Kwame. People support him. You know, because listen, man, just imagine, I'm not even going to ask you that's too much. I'm asking too much, because y'all know if the roles was reversed, y'all already know. I'm asking too much. Forget it.
Steps to protect them, and that's why his uncle, at this hour, is calling him a hero. Michael Wakefield says his 21-year-old nephew, Dustin, was dining with his family when the gunman approached. He says Dustin stood between the suspect and his family members and was shot at least 3 times. Michael calls his nephew a hero. Miami Beach police arrested 22-year-old Tamarius David of Norcross, Georgia. An arrest report says he confessed to being high on mushrooms, and that made him feel empowered. And he added he randomly chose 2 people to shoot.
Tamarius. Listen, when they saw Tamarius approaching, if they had been concealed carry or open carry, whatever, but you know, they don't really do this in open carry state. But let's just say concealed carry. And they had seen him coming, Tamarius coming. And our victim's like, oh, snap, that don't look right. Whips out, bam, bam, bam. Do you know Crump, Sharpton, Kaepernick, LeBron, oh, everybody would be down there right now. This would be the biggest story in the country. I'm not even going to, remember, I'm not even going to ask y'all to imagine if it was reversed. I'm talking about if he had just came up and like just walked up with evil intentions and they felt like his vibe. And before he even, got a chance to whip out, they had shot him. That would be the biggest, right now, that would be on CNN right now, and MSNBC, right now.
2-year-old Tamarius David of Norcross, Georgia. An arrest report says he confessed to being high on mushrooms, and that made him feel empowered. And he added he randomly chose 2 people to shoot. This man says he saw 3 shots fired from 2 feet away and says David started dancing after shooting Wakefield.
Until he shot, he was dancing inside the guy.
Timothy Burgess says he saw the shooter fire another shot before Wakefield was killed.
I'm standing in the alley, and I see the guy, and he's like talking, whatever. He drops his backpack, and he pulls out a gun and shoots. And I'm thinking it's time to go.
Burgess says he took off.
I'm like, hey, this guy's got a gun. And then I get over here, and he's on me. He's like chasing me around the car.
Do you notice a pattern here with his victims? Or you notice it's something, the 2 victims, the people he's chasing around with guns have in common? I don't know.
Fire another shot before Wakefield was killed.
I'm standing in the alley, and I see the guy, and he's like talking, whatever. He drops his backpack, and he pulls out a gun and shoots. and I'm thinking it's time to go.
Burgess says he took off.
I'm like, hey, this guy's got a gun. And then I get over here and he's on me. He's like chasing me around the car.
Moments later, the same man who he says was chasing him would reportedly shoot and kill Dustin Wakefield, horrifying other tourists who were nearby.
It was awful, kind of scary that we were so close to it.
And I just felt very, very sad. It made you realize how fragile life is and that really you're not safe anywhere. And that there's too many guns on the street, my personal opinion.
See, it's comments like this from this woman's an idiot. There's too many guns on the street. You kidding me? This has nothing to do with guns. There are towns all over. Appalachia, Texas, the Midwest. Where everybody got 10, 15 guns. And there's no murders the whole year. Maybe a domestic violence murder. And then there's towns with the strictest gun laws on the planet outside of London, England. Like outside of England, New York, DC, Chicago got the strictest gun laws in the planet. And hundreds and even thousands of murders every year in some of these cities. What is she talking about? Guns. The guy who did this is a bad guy. He did it, but she can't do that because she believes in criminal justice reform. Don't let Kim Klacik and Candace Owens fool you. 99.99% of these sisters want lighter sentences, no bail, diversionary programs, and all this stuff. They the ones fighting for this stuff every day. Almost some gun. And now you see why her community's like that? Because of him and her. Okay? Because of Tiberius and her. You put them two together and you got the stand.
And I just felt very, very sad. It made you realize how fragile life is and that really you're not safe anywhere. And that there's too many guns on the street, my personal opinion.
Dustin Wakefield was vacationing here with family members, including his wife and a young son. And now his uncle says that he was from a town near Denver and worked in the construction industry. Meanwhile, the suspect in this case has been charged with second-degree murder with a weapon and attempted murder. We're live in Miami Beach. Peter Dench, CBS 4 News.